What's up, fellow adventurers? Melissa and Jesse with Adventure Endeavor here, and we are back today to talk to you about our feelings and our thoughts about the differences between the Midwest and the West when it comes to RVing.
Yes.
If you've been following our channel for a while, you know that we love boondocking. We primarily stay out west for lots of different reasons, some of which we'll cover in this video. But we recently did a little stint, a trip out to the Midwest area of the country, so we just wanted to discuss that and let you know our thoughts.
On our little stint, we started in Texas, which is not the Midwest, but we had to go from the West over to the Midwest. I'd say the first state, which is kind of debatable, is Arkansas.
Yeah.
Some people say it's the South, some people...
It's like right there on the edge, like right getting into the Midwest, I feel.
So we did Arkansas, Missouri, Indiana, Kentucky,
Ohio, and Tennessee.
In Tennessee. That was what we did, and that is what we are talking about right now. Some of those maybe are considered the South.
Yeah, technically, but
we're doing the Midwest South is what we're talking about.
Yeah, so that region of the country.
The first thing we really liked about the Midwest was the fact that travel days tend to be shorter. There's a lot more towns, a lot more cities. It seems like it's kind of easier at times to just kind of pull in and take a rest, or if you want to do short travel days and then stay a week and then move, and then, you know, it's just everything is kind of closer together in a sense once you kind of get into that area. A lot more going on, and short drive days are good for us with the little kids.
Another thing we really liked about the Midwest is there's a lot of quaint little towns and like Americana vibe charm. Lots of good like roadside stops and like historic sites, and like we said, everything's like really close together, so you're not driving like super long distances to get to all these spots. You know, little diners and stuff like that.
Diners, drives and dives. And for us, it was great because a lot of that is new. Like, we haven't done a lot of the Midwest, so it felt like every little town that we went through was really cool and unique because we have not been there before.
Yeah, so it's like brand new to us. Like things, places, parts of the country that we have not experienced yet.
Another thing we really liked with the Midwest is it seemed like the drive days were less stressful in a sense because the terrain is a lot easier. It's obviously a lot flatter. There are hills, and if you were to get over into the Smokies, I'm sure there's some bigger hills over there, but it's nothing compared to like being out west. Like, we're currently in Colorado, and these hill passes are gnarly, especially when you're towing a really big RV. So maybe the Midwest might be a little better for some of those bigger RVs.
Yeah, towing, like we said, there are definitely some like really hilly sections depending on where you're going, but compared to like west with like these really high elevation mountain passes, it's much easier.
It's hard on your truck or your RV. Another thing I really loved, and I might have noticed this a little more than Melissa because she works Monday through Friday, like 9 to 5 or whatever. I go out all the time with the kids, and we go grocery shopping, we go to museums, we go to parks, we go for bike rides, we do all sorts of stuff. People are so nice. People always just feel like they want to spark up a conversation with you, and they seem genuine, and people seem very nice. Not that people are not nice here, just seems like people are like more open and willing to spend 30 minutes talking to you. Where here out west, like, people are like, oh, I'll talk to you, but like we gotta be doing a 14er. Like, and then everybody's huffing and puffing and can barely breathe. So it's just a different vibe of the friendliness.
Yeah.
But it was just very welcoming. Like, that's what I noticed at least.
Totally. Like that southern hospitality and like Midwest charm, like combined in that little area. It's just, people are generally like friendlier, at least on the surface. And really, really like easygoing.
And last but not least,
My favorite thing about that part of the country is by far the fireflies. We grew up in California. We had spent most of our time out west, so it's really rare that we are able to actually see fireflies. And we were lucky enough to stay in a place like in the middle of Kentucky that is literally like a family-owned campground called Firefly Hills, and it was just absolutely magical. Just in the middle of this super rural area, which is where you want to be to see the fireflies. Yeah. And every night it got like there were more and more out over the course of the 2 weeks that we were there, and it's just like the most magical, like beautiful thing.
I will say though, like if you can stay up late enough, half the nights we fall asleep before it's even dark out with kids. So if you can stay, those were kind of the positives, the things that we liked about the Midwest. Now I gotta go to the negatives, and for me, the worst negative was probably the tornado risk. Now, we did go in spring. We could have gone in fall.
Which is apparently not as
intense, but they still have them apparently. So that was something that we were always looking at the radar, like almost nightly, where it just kind of creates this anxiety. And you just have to be very weather aware because we're in a camper. We're not in a house. We don't have a basement. We don't have like multiple walls where we'd be okay. So it's just a little higher on the scary scale.
Yeah, and a lot of like the really bad storms hit at night, and we were in areas where it was relatively close to some pretty bad storms. Yeah. And so that's just an extra level of anxiety, and we're knowing like what time of night the worst of the storm was supposed to hit. So we're just like awake like at 3 a.m. like watching the radar, watching like the YouTube live for the people that do the storm watching.
Yeah.
So it was a little tricky, and if it was during the day, we would go and we would find like a place to shelter, but it's not
like we go to a library or restaurant or something like that, just improving our situation just in case. Now, weather. The humidity is freaking terrible. I don't care what you say, it's gross. You get out of the shower, you're pretty much sweating instantly, and I don't like it. I'll just say it outright. I don't like it.
It's really good for the skin though.
Oh my god. Yeah, your skin's great because you're just covered in sweat all the time.
Yeah, exactly. You don't need lotion.
So that for me was a huge, huge negative about the Midwest.
Which is actually a great segue into our next point, which is the fact that you pretty much always have to book a campground. One of the reasons for that is that if it's that humid, you're gonna probably want full hookups so you can run your ACs 24/7, like through the night, so it's comfortable enough for you to sleep at night. And that's just a huge expense. Now, there's definitely different ways to go about that. Some people do Thousand Trails membership. For us, it didn't make sense at all this particular time. We might do something like that in the future, who knows? But it's just the cost adds up significantly. Anywhere between $30 and $50, $60 a night. Like it really, really adds up very, very quickly, and it's tricky sometimes to then have enough money to go and do the fun activities you want to do in these places because you're spending so much money on campgrounds.
Yeah, and on top of that, campgrounds, like, don't get me wrong, a lot of them are really nice. They're really done up nicely and stuff like that. Like, they have amenities. Like, we enjoyed a pool at one of the campgrounds. Yeah. But also, along with that, like, you can hear your neighbors, like, if they're arguing. You can smell cigarette smoke, like, if it's too close. You might be able to smell sewer smell occasionally. People might drive by too quickly, like dogs barking. So we just like to have a little bit more space out west and be able to boondock. And yeah.
And now that we're back out west, we want to talk about all the things that we love, all the pros about RVing in the western part of the country. So we're talking about basically like Rocky Mountains and everything west of that. So we've been in Colorado for several weeks, and we don't think that anything that we saw in like the Midwest beats the views that you can get in the West. So epic landscapes, like amazing expansive mountain views, like it's absolutely just gorgeous, and it's like endless basically. There are definitely campgrounds and places in the Midwest and the South that are very beautiful, don't get me wrong.
But we're talking 10 out of 10 views.
Yeah.
And then a lot of the stuff we saw in the Midwest to us were 5s. Like some of their like best stuff in the areas that we went to were like vibes. Like there's some cool waterfalls,
Yeah.
a couple good views, but it's just not magical.
Oh.
Like out here, like the views just they're not awe-inspiring. They just
Yes.
do not.
They don't take your breath away.
Like every spot we've been out here since we left Nashville out here in Colorado, every spot is like, like amazing. Like, so that's kind of the difference. I think, right?
I mean, here's a really good example. Like hiking in the West, you're much more likely to see like just amazing views and like all different like terrain and like just different beautiful spots like the entire hike, versus doing a hike in the region that we were just in. You're just in the trees. Like you're in the trees, there's maybe some cool rocks like here and there, and then there's like a waterfall at the end of the trail. And
Pause.
There's
ticks.
We forgot.
Ticks need to go on the negatives.
Rewind.
No, we're just adding here. Ticks on the negatives of the Midwest. Those things are terrible.
Oh my god, and they're everywhere.
Disgusting.
Oh, it's awful.
But anyways, and then also the vastness of the views and how quickly the terrain changes.
Yeah.
You can be in the Rockies, be up in the Alpine area, and then 3 hours later, you could be in Moab, Utah, where it's orange sandstone, completely different. Once we kind of felt like, for me, once we hit Texas, like Dallas area or Fort Worth area, it just felt like it kind of all almost looked the same all the way over to Nashville. Like honestly, that was kind of
like everything is just like it's green and it's hilly and like that's beautiful in its own way, but it's nothing like the diversity of the landscape out west.
Obviously, west is the boondocking paradise, and for good reason. There's so many apps and websites and whatnot that can help you find boondocking spots. It's free. Like if you have a little bit of solar, if you have maybe a water bladder, maybe a generator, you can just come out here, use your RV for free. Most places it's 2 weeks. Sometimes there's a little bit of restrictions. So it's the cost is zero. It's the accessibility. Lots of times these places are anywhere from, right now we're close to a really cool town. We're 10 minutes away. Sometimes you're 30-ish minutes outside of town, which can be tricky. But then with that, you get the solitude, you get the quietness. You don't have neighbors on top of you unless you want your friends to be with you, which right now we're with friends. And it's awesome. We're out here. It's quiet. It's beautiful. We're 10 minutes from town. Yeah. And just the freedom. Like, we often let our dog off leash. I know a lot of people say, blah, 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 maybe you shouldn't do that. We do. She loves it. She loves to run. We can just hop on our bikes and just go explore the dirt roads. And it just is the freedom to not have to book anything,
not have to pay,
to not have to stress about, oh, did I get in that campground? All that kind of stuff, in my opinion, takes away from the freedom and the fun of RV life.
Yeah, I would honestly say that the fact that we've boondocked so much is probably one of the main reasons actually, that we've been on the road for so long, 6.5 years now. Because of the freedom.
I would agree, because you're like, where are you going tomorrow? And we're like, I don't know. Like, it doesn't matter. We can go wherever. Whereas if you're out east, it's like, oh, well, we have this reservation and this and that, and you have to kind of have them lapping right on top of each other.
You have to plan really far ahead, which we don't necessarily like to do. And and then there's no room for flexibility. If you're like, oh, you really like this area, you want to stay a little bit longer, and you're not having to like modify all these like campground reservations to try to accommodate that. Another major pro of the West for us is the drier, sunnier climate. Like I said, the humidity is great for your skin. That's about the only benefit. And it's great for fireflies. But we like the sun. We like sunshine. We like it to be sunny and kind of cold out. And the West is where it's at for that, especially Colorado, like Utah, Arizona, parts of that. So the drier, sunnier weather is definitely a pro for us.
Yeah, and like one of those things too, we were talking about, you had to be in the campground because the humidity would be plugged in. It might be 90 degrees here in the Rockies, right?
Yes.
And if like one little cloud comes, obviously it cools down. But at night, the major thing is that, I mean, last night I think we were in the 40s. So you get the nice, bright, sunny, warm weather to where you can go on an alpine lake that's freezing cold during the day, and then later that evening you don't have to worry about air conditioning.
Yes.
Like, you can go to bed. Sometimes you need your heat at night. So that's obviously elevation in general.
Yeah.
we absolutely love that, and it makes boondocking so easy, and it's just great.
Yeah, that's that big variation in temperature swing is really what we're looking for. So between 30 and 40 degree temperature swing where it feels like summer during the day and winter at night, like that's what we love. And you do not get that in the Midwest, like at all. Like it'll stay basically the same temperature like all day long, 24 hours.
Here's something that some people do not like, and it can be a con at times, but if you prepare or if you've been doing it long enough, for us, it's just like, it's not even a big deal. Fuel stops can be further apart. Lots of times if you get into kind of more remote areas, that's something to be aware of. So it's kind of like a con in a sense. With our other truck, we noticed it more. This truck we don't, because we have an auxiliary diesel tank. The terrain. So we're talking about the big mountain passes can be stressful. Your vehicle could overheat. You could lose your brakes going down a hill, something you have to be very aware of. Deserts, when you're going through some of the deserts out here, very, very remote. So you have to be self-sufficient. You might want to have Starlink. You might want to have it working to where if you do break down in between some big towns, you can call for help. We didn't have that back in the day. Starlink wasn't a thing. And if you needed Starlink, you probably didn't have cell service either. So that is kind of going away a little bit. You can at least get help, but these are things that you have to think about when you're out west because it's so vast, it's so remote in some places. You have to be prepared. So in closing, the verdict is
The
west is the best.
We're so lame.
The east is a stinking poo-poo place.
No, it's fine.
The east was cool,
It's different.
but for us, it's like maybe like a 4 or 5 month like trip, and then we got to go back to our homeland.
Yeah,
basically.
I think if we had it Jesse's way, we would never leave the West. But I gotta drag him. I'm gonna drag him to different parts of the country.
Another con, there's like no freaking off-roading out. Unless you go to off-road park, and then you have to pay to off-road.
That's ridiculous.
What the heck is that? That's ridiculous.
No.
West is the best.
The public
plain and
lands,
simple.
man. Public lands are where it's at.
Protect them.
Boom.